Hi, my name is Chef Christopher and welcome back to our how-to demos on how to do certain things with cakes and baking and pastries. What we're going to do today is make a blackout filling. It's a chocolate blackout filling. Some people call it a New York blackout filling. Some people call it chocolate filling. I call it a blackout filling because it's a very dark filling, very elegant, very extravagant filling. It tastes really good. It's really strong chocolate taste. So what I have here is I just have a pot that I'm going to use to do all my prep work or do all my work in. You can use a stainless steel pot. I have a pot that's, or not, you can use stainless steel or you can use a non-stick pot. I'll tell you the differences when we get into it, what you need to do if you're going to use a non-stick. First what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the heat on our pot to medium-high. If you have gas, it's going to be about medium-high also. I'm using electric. At the bakery we use gas, so just at home I'm using electric. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 12 ounces of water. We're going to measure that out. 12 ounces of water. Pour that into the pot. It's going to be pretty much like a two-step process. I have all my ingredients already measured out, so it's called, the fancy word that I said in a couple of videos called mise en place. Just those French people, they seem to have a word for everything in their French language. So I have it all measured out, mise en place, all my ingredients, just to make sure I have everything. So I got my 12 ounces of water. I have 14 ounces of sugar, just regular granulated sugar. Pouring that in there. I got 3 ounces of cocoa. The cocoa is basically just unsweetened cocoa. There's a big brand name that you can use, town in Pennsylvania, if you want to use that brand. And then I have 5 ounces of margarine or butter. You can use either one. If you're going to use butter, make sure it's unsalted butter, because we're going to add a little bit of salt. And you want that butter to be at room temperature. So I'm going to put that in there. We're going to take a pinch of salt, just a pinch, small pinch. Again, I've said in other videos, it's not going to add any salty flavor to the mixture. It's just bringing, this is actually going to help the sugar come out. I don't know if you've ever tried putting salt in hot chocolate. It brings out the chocolate, and the salt will bring out, I'm sorry, let me go backwards a little bit. I don't know if you've ever put salt in hot chocolate. What it'll do is it'll bring out the flavor of that chocolate and make it really taste like really good chocolate. I'm going to mix that up a little bit just to get the clumps out. As you can see, the chocolate's very clumpy. So I'm going to just get that out there for a little bit. Let me get a towel real quick so I'm not making a mess here. Always have a towel, paper towel. It's easier when you go to the cleanup. The next step I'm going to get is some corn syrup. You can get corn syrup at any local grocery store, obviously. Little trick for the corn syrup, we're going to use 3 fluid ounces of corn syrup. Little trick I like to do is I like to take a non-sticking agent that I use to coat my pans, put in a glass Pyrex pan, or Pyrex cup, spray it. This will make sure that the corn syrup does not stick to it. So I'm going to do about 3 ounces. Actually, there's going to be 3 ounces. 3 fluid ounces. To be a little less than a half a cup. Pour that in there, and you'll see, because I have that non-sticking spray in there, that it came right out. Just like I think I did in a couple videos with honey and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up, making sure all the butter melts, the chocolate is not clumping, the sugar is going to melt, and I'm going to bring this to a boil, a nice rolling boil. Not just the beginning stages of a boil, but a really strong boil. And my butter is room temperature, but it's going to still be, it's going to keep its form a little bit until the water melts it, or the mixture melts it. So while that's going on, I'm going to do the step 2 of the process. And what step 2 is I'm going to make a slurry. A slurry is not something that happens when you've had a little too much alcohol to drink. It is actually just corn syrup and water. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a bowl here, And I am going to take my bowl and I'm going to put the water in there. I have 4 ounces of water for this recipe. And I have 3.5 ounces of corn starch. I said corn syrup earlier. It's corn starch. Corn starch is just a thickening agent. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a slurry. A slurry is basically dissolving all that cornstarch, making it into the liquid. Reason for that is you're going to add this into this chocolate mixture, chocolate butter sugar mixture, and that's going to thicken it up. As you'll see, once it boils, it's going to be very liquidy. It's going to pretty much be as liquidy as this. But the amazing thing about cornstarch is it thickens things up. I use cornstarch for gravies. You might do that. You use flour for gravies, but I use cornstarch. You can use a lot less. And you can see in there, there's no powder from the cornstarch. I'm going to set that aside there for a second, and I'm going to check on my mixture. And as you can see in there, it's become really smooth. There's no more lumps from the chocolate. I can smell the chocolate. It smells like a lot of chocolate. I know I only put 3 ounces of chocolate in there, but it smells really good. Now this is what I was talking about. If you were using a non-stick pan, you would not want to use one of these whisks. This whisk is going to scrape the bottom, and it's going to scrape the Teflon and the coating on the non-stick pan, and it's going to scratch it. It's going to get that coating up, and you're going to end up with that coating in your mixture. So you don't want to use that. Whenever I'm cooking over a stove, I try to use something with a rubber handle, or I'll try to use a wooden spoon. The reason for that is neither one of these is going to conduct heat from there. It's not going to travel up into the rubber handle, burn your hand. Don't use a metal spoon or completely metal, because the heat from there is just going to travel straight up there. So I'm going to let that boil. And while that boils, we're just in a waiting game. What I use this for, I use a lot of this is for, like I said, for fillings, for cakes. I use it for filling. Basically, I only use it for filling for cakes, but you could use it for anything. It could be a chocolate spread or something like that. So if you like chocolate, this is probably, this is amazing. This is an amazingly strong, rich, elegant chocolate filling. You can see it's starting to boil a lot. Very quick. It's going to get higher than a normal boiling point because I do have some sugar in there. Water boils at 212 degrees. So just be very careful. There is sugar in there. Sugar will continue to get hotter and hotter and hotter as it boils. So just making sure my slurry here. Now I'm going to add my slurry that I made, making sure it didn't, clump up or anything like that. And I'm going to add it in at a steady pace. Don't want to dump it all in there. I'm stirring, making sure, everything is getting in there. If I dumped it in there, it would just clump really bad. It would just be a big clump. So I'm doing it at a steady pace. And I'm going to change from this whisk after I've got this all mixed up. I can already feel it starting to thicken up a little bit. I'm just going to continue stirring a little bit with the whisk because it does makes it a lot easier with the whisk. So I am going to do that. I'm going to put my whisk on my towel. I'm not putting it on the counter or anything like that. And I'm going back to my spoon. I am going to spin, stir this. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit. You can see it starting to bubble. I don't know if you can see that. You can definitely hear it. It sounds like a volcano. Boom. It looks like molten lava, and it will burn you like molten lava. So you just want to make sure you're careful. Don't stick your hand in there. I don't have a non-stick pan here, so I'm actually scraping the bottom. You want to continue to scrape or continue to spin and stir this mixture to keep it smooth. You don't want to have any clumps in there because it is going to clump up. And nobody wants to bite into some chocolate filling with a big clump of, cornstarch or chocolate powder. So I'm just spinning, and basically I'm going to continue to mix this until my spoon will stand up on its own. It's pretty close to standing up on its own. You can see how quick that is. You can see how smooth that is. It's a very smooth chocolate filling. I wish you could be here to smell it. It smells awesome. And it's still boiling. It's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter. So just be very, very careful. I'm going to turn off the heat because it's pretty much done. Spoon standing straight up and down. I'm going to stir it a little more. Just continue to stir it just so I'm not clumping it up. In the bakery we make a larger quantity of this. So you imagine the guy that has to sit here and make, you know, like a batch that's 5 times the size. He's stirring and he's stirring and he's stirring and he's stirring. He's got some really big arms. I can tell you that. Chocolate is probably one of the #1 flavors in the bakery. People say, you know, why don't you just go out and buy chocolate filling or something like this? I think this tastes much better than chocolate filling that you'd buy in a store. Also, you heard the ingredients, very simple: water, sugar, cocoa, butter, some corn syrup, cornstarch. There's nothing you can't pronounce in there. You can see, look at how great that looks. That looks awesome. Don't stick your finger in again, tasting it. It's going to be very hot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically let this cool down a little. And I'm going to also transfer it to a Tupperware container because it's going to continue to cook. I don't want it to burn in the bottom of the pot. And then that's pretty much it. As for like storing it, you could probably keep this in a Tupperware container in your fridge for about 2 weeks, and it's going to, you know, it's going to be pretty good. It's not going to lose its taste or go bad or rancid or anything like that. One note I would like to say is don't just take this, transfer it into a Tupperware container, throw it into your fridge. You got to think this is over 212 degrees. You put it in your fridge, and it's going to raise the temperature of everything in your fridge. So, you know, transfer this to a Tupperware container, let it sit out, let it cool down to room temperature, and then put it in your fridge. Don't put it straight on a cake. It's gonna, you know, it's just, you want to make this a day before. I like to make, you know, this at least a day or 2 days before I'm going to actually use it, and it'll thicken up in the fridge even more. What else could I say about this great chocolate filling? It's just amazing. I just can't stop looking at it. Other things I want to say about it is, you know, it's taste it when it's cooled down. If you take it out of the fridge and it's really thick and you can't get your spoon to move around in it, you know, take it, throw it in the microwave for 15 seconds, then spin it around a little bit. If it's still not as, you know, movable or pliable to spread onto a cake, put it in there for another 15 seconds, and, you know, it'll loosen up with a little bit of heat. So I just want to say thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email at info@Kakebakery, that's cake with a K.com. I will be more than happy to answer those questions. If you have any other questions or you want to see any other videos, you know, or want to know how to make something, just let me know, and I will be more than happy to do it. Again, I am Chef Christopher with Kakebakery, and thank you, and I can't wait to do another video for you, and thank you.